You know what sports are quite funny? It's the ones where it's like it starts raining and they don't bother doing it. Like, it always makes me like cricket, right? Cricket's crap. Cricket is crap. But the fact that it makes it even crapper that when it rains, they're like, you have to go inside.
Whoa.
You don't play cricket in the rain, do they? No. It's like, nah, I'm going inside. Ladies and gentlemen, the champ is here. We have joining us today the 2025 EDR World Cup overall winner, Ella Conolly.
Oh, what an intro. That must feel good.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty sweet, actually. I think that's the first time someone said that out loud. So,
Really?
yeah, happy with that.
Has it like sunk in? Like, this is a massive thing.
It is huge. I don't think it has done yet. No, I don't think it has.
Really?
It's only been a couple of days and I'm still so tired. Yeah.
I guess you've just been in the van since.
Yeah, in the van driving, yeah.
I guess kind of that's what you get for wrapping it up early.
I know.
You've still got to go to more races.
I know as well. I think there's an aspect of I didn't have to fight till the end of the season, you know? So it's kind of like a bit of a surprise, like, whoa, already? Kind of thing. So, like, yeah, I guess we'll celebrate properly after the last races.
Oh, it's been interesting. I guess it's been kind of weird because we've had you with us for a couple of days now, but we've not really talked about this because there's this like weird thing that we have to do where you're like, okay, let's not talk about that because we need to save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it felt weird not being like, oh, tell me more. But we can actually do that now. So that's cool.
Sick. Oh.
So, yeah, you've wrapped up early. We've got a round to go. What was it? I mean, we're going to jump all over the place. Obviously, really want to go back because we've not had you on the podcast before, talk about origins, all that sort of stuff. But what did it feel like coming into La Tuile?
Coming into the Tuile was a funny one because there were all these like numbers floating around. Like people were like, "Oh, you need to be top 7 or top 5 or something to win the series." But I kind of go into these races wanting to win each race. You know, like the series is like a bonus, but I wanted to win some World Cups this year. You know.
Yeah.
So I was still aiming for that top step, but at the back of my mind there was like, if I made a mistake or something, I was like, you only need to be like top 7, like just keep going. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting race trying to balance those two things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it change anything? Like, I guess it's hard to work out, but do you think it did change anything the way you rode?
I was possibly slightly safer in a few places, I would say. Like I knew I could win the overall this race. I didn't want to go in and like blow myself up first corner, you know, and be like, oh, well, that's over.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get that wrapped up before the end of the season, like knowing that I could. So I would say I was ever so slightly safer in a few places. I was definitely getting like a safety foot out around a few corners, like making sure I didn't slide out or like go off the edge of a cliff or something like that. So yeah, maybe a little bit. But then I look back and I was only 2 seconds to the win at that race. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have pushed slightly harder. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, it's so sick. And obviously you had the night race at the end, the first ever night race, and that's where you clinched it, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's pretty cool, like, yeah, under the lights.
Yeah, no, it was
Supercross style.
It was a wild kind of first experience of that for everyone because we practiced that stage in the daytime. So none of us had ridden like under those lights or anything before. So that was like... It was a really short stage, but it was also nerve-wracking because it felt like so different. And for something like a World Cup kind of series or a World Cup race even to be decided in the men's and women's on a stage and no one's done that before, you know, like felt like a pretty big event and a bit uncertain, to be honest.
Big crowd as well, right?
Yeah, no, it was wild. There were loads of people out watching actually. Like we didn't know what to expect because I think I started that stage at 10 p.m. So you're like, are there still going to be people around or not? But it felt like quite a big occasion and yeah, lots of change doors, like smoke bombs. Like it was wild. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So cool. So cool. And I guess, do you think it helped that it was new for everybody? Because you had to, was there a position you had to finish for that final stage? Like, did you know that or not?
Well,
that makes sense, like with the time you had to make up or...
I was sitting in second before that last stage.
Okay.
But only 2.5 seconds back from the win for that like individual race.
Yeah.
But it was the stage was literally 1 minute long, like not much to it. There was one rock garden, but like in my head, I was like, I don't think I can make up 2.5 seconds. Like there were a few like loose pieces of track. I was like, I probably could lose more than I could gain, you know, in this stage. Like I feel like I had a pretty safe run. I didn't think I could make up that time for the win at that race unless the person in front of me like crashed. So I had a pretty like safe run down, I would say. Pretty safe run down. But then the girl who was in first did stall in the rock garden. So there was a moment, there was like a screen at the bottom and they were like live streaming it like just at the bottom of the race. So I was stood at the bottom watching the last girl come down and she stalled in the rock garden. So for a moment I was like, oh, maybe I do have this race, you know? But she must have just gone so hard after that, like knowing that she wanted to win that race. So yeah.
I can't imagine being at the top of that run, like knowing. It's a pretty wild old experience, isn't it?
It was, yeah, and I think no one wanted it to come down to that. I think because none of us had done this before, every rider kind of wanted the race to kind of be decided before that last stage, you know, so that there wasn't pressure on something like such an uncertain stage because, no one really knew how to ride like differently under those lights. I don't know, it was pretty crazy, but both the men's and the women's race were so tight coming into that last stage. Like there was 2.5 seconds separating me and the girl in first, and there was like less than a second separating the top 2 men, like 4 seconds separating the top 4 men or something crazy. You know, it's like, it did all come down to that. We'd done about 30 minutes of racing up to that point. Yeah. And then, just this one last 1 minute stage, you would think that it would be decided over the 30 minutes, like in the daytime, you know? Yeah, it was crazy. And then riding under the lights was quite different. Like, your like perception of speed totally changes. I spoke to a few people around about this. Like, we had some grass corners to like start the stage, and I couldn't tell how fast I was going. Like, it was was a really strange feeling, really weird.
We had Iago obviously on yesterday, talking about it, and it was depth as well, and also trying to figure out lens tints. Yeah, so quite a lot went into making this work.
Yeah, there was a little bit. Yeah, and there was like this rock garden in the middle, and to me the light kind of just flattened it all out. Like I was really struggling to see the difference between the rocks and the dirt and the like where you were going.
How are you getting this information throughout the day as to times and where you're at? So if we were to relate this back to downhill at the top, you know, you've got to get X position to win a championship. Do they know? They know, you know, they've got someone with them, you know, a mechanic or something who's feeding that information back. But you're like out. Yeah. So how do you get this information? Yeah.
Well, if you want to look at times, you get your own phone out, go to like UCI Mountain Bike World Series website, click on live timing. Yeah. And you check the times, but then equally, if you don't want to know, you can probably get away for a while without checking, you know, like unless you're doing really well, then people come up to you and they're like, oh, like great run, or like people trying to interview you, then you're like, oh, well, it must have been pretty good. But you could do most of the day if you want without checking your times and how you're doing, which in a way is quite nice. Like sometimes, like for your mind, you know, you just want to go flat out everywhere. Sometimes, for me at least, it's better not to know.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had a radio, would it really be helpful in a way?
Yeah, I think everyone's different. Like some people will check the times after every single stage, like want to know how they're doing. Yeah. Sometimes, if I'm not super confident, I'd rather just have a couple of stages to start the day where I don't know. You know, like I want to ride my best. So like is knowing the result going to help? Not always.
I always find sports psychology really interesting because when you think about it, it's very simple, but it's just so complicated. Like tennis, really, if you just try and play every point and win, it should be
surely
simple,
that's your best.
But then as soon as the weight changes or whatever, it's impossible. I guess the same with every single sport.
Yeah. Yeah, I did have a look after the first couple of stages because I was curious. I was like, well, I want to make sure I'm not like way back, you know? Like, and you do get curious. That's the thing. Like you have your phone in your pocket and the results are right there. It's like when you finish a stage, you're like pedaling a couple of hours to the next stage. You're like some of the time I'm like battling with myself. Like, do I want to know? Do I not? Like, but you can't know. It's right there.
You're right there. Yeah. The mind games.
Yeah, no, it's a funny one.
So you choose to look. Has that been the same all season or like throughout the career, or is it?
For me, it depends on the race. Totally depends on the race. There was quite a long time where I'd never look. I'd totally wait till the end of the day. Yeah. Then they started reseeding us before the last stage of the race at some races. So like you drop into the last stage in the order you were, well, reverse order, like in the results.
Right, yeah.
So then you'd find out anyway. And then I think as I started doing a bit better, I did want to know, because you can play it a bit tactically, I guess. Like if you're doing really well and you don't need to risk, you want like risk too much, it's useful to know. So like I think more recently I've started checking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going into the last round with the leader's jersey on and knowing that you've wrapped it up. When did that jersey first go on?
I picked that jersey up at the second round in Poland. So
and you've kept it since?
Yeah. I'd had 2 second places to start the season, and that was enough to kind of have enough points to be leading overall. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's pretty wild.
Excuse our ignorance as well. Like I feel like it is hard with this because it's difficult to keep a track on what's going on with all of the content as well. So it's like, yeah, it's cool to learn more about how your season's gone and stuff like that as well.
No, that's all right.
I know, again, we're going to jump around, but I think now we spoke a little bit about becoming world champion. How did you get to this point? Let's start at the beginning a little bit, right? A little bit of origin story. So Inverness is where you grow up?
Yeah, that was where I was born. I was born. That was where I have born. I was born.
You don't have a Scottish accent though, which I've wanted to ask you about ever since I met you earlier.
I don't know. My parents aren't Scottish, so I guess that's kind of where my accent comes from, like a random mix of places. But I have lived my whole life in Inverness, so yeah, it's a funny one. My dad's from around Lancaster area, my mum's from Oxfordshire, and my younger brother has far more of a Scottish accent than I do. So like,
really?
I have no idea. Yeah.
When I first met you yesterday, I was like, "Oh, you're obviously from Sweden."
I
feel like
do get Scandinavian.
Yeah. Like a Swedish person speaking English.
Whoa.
Tongue to me.
I do get this a little bit too. I spend so much time, I guess now that I live in Spain most of the time, I do speak with people who aren't native English speakers quite a lot, and I think it changes how you speak a little bit. So like, I do get people now being like, "Is English your native language?" And I'm like, "Yep." That's a bit scary.
But there's like an international tug, isn't there, where you mix with loads of different people. I feel like you end up taking bits from everyone. I quite often notice it, like especially with like photographers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they spend so much time around so many different on the road.
Yeah. So what was your first exposure to mountain biking?
I mountain biked a lot as a kid, like just growing up as a family. All of our weekends, holidays would be riding bikes, kind of for fun. Mm-hmm. I do have a younger brother, and he is still obsessed with riding a bike. So he would refuse to go anywhere without 2 wheels. So it kind of influenced what we did as a family. Yeah, so like we would never go for walks and stuff. We would always go for bike rides. And I guess, it was just like a fun family activity. And that's how it was for quite a while, until he started racing some like little dirt crit, like cross-country local kids races. And I was going along, and at some point I was like, oh, well, I'll give it a go too. And that kind of kick-started me getting into cross-country racing. So, yeah, I grew up, I guess, I don't know how old I was, around 14 maybe, raced my first like proper Scottish cross-country race. And built up racing cross-country, went to like the British Series, got on to British Cycling's kind of like Olympic development program essentially. Yep. So through secondary school was doing that, going to some like Junior World Cup stuff. And then after school got on to their more residential program based in Manchester, where they take you to World Cups. Yeah. And did 1 year of racing under 23 cross-country World Cups, which was an experience.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, holy.
So it was you were all in right from the start. You were just like, I want to be a pro rider. I want to be racing cross-country.
I think I just love riding my bike. I don't even know if I knew that anyone actually really made a living from racing. Like, if I'm honest, like, I kind of just got caught up in it, you know, like someone was like, oh, do you want to go here and race your bike, and do you want to do this? And I wanted to do all of those things because they kind of sounded fun. Like, we were going cool places, I was going with all my friends, you know, like, so it's funny, no, I didn't grow up with the dream of being a professional mountain biker. Like, I don't really think I knew that that was a job, that you could do that, you know? So no.
It is an interesting split, isn't it? Because you speak to lots of kids nowadays they're literally set on sponsorship, you know, and like racing a certain series, and they want to be just like this. But I think there's something quite nice about the mystery of just doing it because it's fun.
Yeah, no, there are quite a lot of people that I'm racing against now, and like they've dreamed of winning these races like their whole life, and I have quite like a different experience of that, you know, like that wasn't why I've gone to any race kind of in my life, you know, like I do want to win, but that wasn't what it was like always all about, which I think is quite nice.
Yeah, it is for sure. Yeah. It is for sure. So you go to what was that experience like moving to Manchester when you quite young? I don't know. I'm trying to think when you'd have done that.
I was like 17, 18.
Yeah, moved to Manchester.
It was so cool because you're like, that was my first experience. Like I was moving out away from home. Like I guess that was my experience. Instead of going to university, I went and did that. So like at the same time as my friends were all moving to go to university, I moved there to be like a full-time bike rider. So like it was so exciting, you know, like and they provided so many things. Like they provided our housing, paid us a bit, like coaches, bikes, like there were lots of people doing it at the same time as well, and we were mixing with people from lots of different disciplines. They were all doing a similar thing, but for like track or BMX or that kind of thing.
So who were you around? Like who's the crop at that point that you were around? So
I was living with Evie Richards and Sophie Capewell, who have both just been to the Olympics and done amazingly, you know, like really cool. So no, it was like a super fun time, and I just turned 18, so being in somewhere like Manchester as well, I was going out quite a lot and like probably not doing all the things I was meant to be doing. But yeah, it was cool to start with, but I think that quickly faded as the kind of reality of like why we were there kicked in, you know.
So yeah, XC and enduro, quite different things, really, right?
Yeah.
Like I know you're racing a bike, but like at the same time, I always feel like what was your motivation cross country wise? Like, were you like looking forward to the work, or were you?
I loved the training. I love training. Okay, I do enjoy like improving. I don't mind training. Oh, I don't know the last time I enjoyed a cross country race. Like, to be honest, I was dreading the races by the end. Like just starting, like knowing the pain that I was going to go through, like, it's pretty grim, pretty tough actually.
It's really quite different compared to an EDR race day, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's super intense. Like, I just remember being on the start line. Often, like, you're gridded kind of with some like world ranking, so I was often gridded at the back. I didn't have enough points to be gridded further forward. And just looking up at the first climb at the back of this group of like girls, like, well, there's no way I'm getting past them up there. So yeah, no, it was a pretty tough experience. I was like pulled out. If you're going to get lapped in the race, basically you get pulled out of the race. So like those under 23 World Cups, I think I only finished one of them that year because like I was gridded at the back, never made my way forward, and the first girls were going to come round and lap me. So I lasted 1 year doing that. 1 year.
What was it? Yeah, just to go back slightly, but what's it like living in that environment? Like, what's a week look like as a British cycling? I don't know what the word is, like prospect. I don't know, but it's not prospects. You doing it? I don't know.
I feel like you're like
the route? Like, what were they trying to get you to?
Olympics. They won Olympic medals basically. So all of their British Cycling's funding is calculated on how many Olympic medals they've won in that discipline and how many more they're likely to win. Yeah. So you're there to go to the Olympics one day. That's the goal.
Okay.
And again, it was funny, I hadn't grown up. Like, a lot of these people had grown up with the dream of going to the Olympics, and that hadn't ever kind of crossed my mind, you know? Yeah. Like, I just want to have fun, ride my bike and go to these races, you know? So, like, the weeks were intense. Like, we had full-time training program, usually a couple of sessions a day. We'd be going to do gym sessions with coaches, like, multiple kind of interval sessions on the bike a day. Appointments with nutritionists, physiotherapists, doctors. Like, it was intense. They gave you everything you needed to like be the best rider, you know, but like that's intense. That's a lot, you know, like, almost kind of. And then I guess with all of that, it puts a lot of pressure on you, like a real lot of pressure. Like, they're giving you all of that, so then they expect you to win medals. Like, it's kind of, we put this in, we want that out.
It's like you've started doing it because it's fun.
Yeah.
And then obviously some people might think that is fun, having that routine, that structure, that but maybe it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it suited me too well. There were like a few things about it. We didn't get to mountain bike a whole lot, to be honest. Like, we were based in Manchester, so most of my training rides were road rides in the end, because we had to kind of drive to ride. And yeah, and then there was a lot of stuff around diet and stuff, which I don't think was great for like 17, 18-year-olds, kind of getting weighed constantly, getting skin folds taken. Like, so there was a few things about it that didn't suit me that well. And we were at a World Cup in, where was it? I think it was Lenzerheide, and they kind of sat me down and they were like, okay, you're like not doing well enough. Like, you've got a couple of months and see you later.
Oh, it's really
like
difficult,
just before one of the World Cups. So like my first thought was like, oh my goodness, like I chose this instead of university. What am I going to do? Like I have no idea what else to do. And then Tracy Moseley was there helping us with some of like technical sections on course, like as like a tech coach basically. And she like knocked on my room an hour later. She was like, right, you're going to race some enduro now. You're going to an EWS in a couple of months, and you're going to go do Hard Rock, and you're going to do this Scottish enduro. Like what do you need? Like, go travel with Martha Gill. Like, here you go try. And I was like, sorry, what? But sure, okay, cool. Like,
really?
let's do it.
I didn't know that. I'd never
it
heard
was
that.
like super quick turnaround, like super quick.
So Tracy saw something in you that she thought would suit enduro, right?
Well, basically, I think at the previous World Cup, I was getting overtaken up the climbs, and then I was overtaking people on the descent. And like, that's not kind of usually how it goes. There's not much space often to overtake on descent. So I guess she saw something. I get, enduro might suit me better.
It's so interesting because the primary focus, like you were saying, you're not even riding a mountain bike when you're training for cross country.
Yeah.
And then you found yourself in a sport that's really skill based and reliant on your descending.
I think just growing up, like riding a mountain bike in the Highlands, like I probably had a pretty solid base, of skills, and yeah.
Tracy Moseley. So she was there working for British Cycling?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
To like, just like, this isn't making. You'd be better over here, basically. Even though that's not a British cycling.
No, that's not a British cycling discipline at all. And I think at that point, enduro was still quite new, So like, I didn't know a huge amount about enduro. Like, it wasn't a sport that many riders had got into from a young age. Like people were still crossing over from other disciplines to get into enduro. So, and she'd helped Martha get into enduro in a similar way. Martha was racing cross country as well when I was younger, so we used to kind of race and be on these British cycling programs together. So she'd help Martha kind of cross over, and knew I could go travel with her, and like I'd probably enjoy it quite a lot more. Sent me off to Finale a couple of months later to go race in EWS.
Wow. Go on, sorry.
Well, do you remember your first time on an enduro bike? I was going to ask. Like, because there's a big difference, right?
Yeah. Well, while I was racing cross country, I did also buy enduro bikes myself. There was part of me that always wanted to ride more mountain bike kind of stuff. So I'd raced a couple of like Scottish enduros and stuff while I was racing cross country. So yeah, I wasn't totally new to it. I did ride all of those first enduros like cross country races. It was so funny. I was riding up the climbs and just overtaking everyone. Everyone was like, "What on earth is she doing?" But I guess I was so fit at that point that it felt quite normal to like ride at that pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's pretty wild looking back on that.
That's great. Did you have like a view of enduro already? I mean, you said you did a couple of races, but it was something. Had it crossed your mind to even make that jump?
No, I don't think it had done, which is funny because it did suit me way more than cross country did. To me, it was like just something super fun that I did on the side. Like that was like total like enjoyment compared to the cross country side of things.
Yeah.
And then when I got to that first EWS and Finale, it was like Disneyland. It was like we were like by the beach. There was uplift to the trails. You can get straight on a shuttle to take you to the top of a 1,000-meter descent. These like athletes were eating like pizza, ice cream, and I just come from cross country, and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is incredible, so good. Yeah, so I just had like the best time, and that one race sold me on enduro. I was like, I want to do this. I want to race all of these next year.
What was that bit of a transition like there as far as leaving the British cycling thing? Because I guess with that, you've got some sort of pathway.
Yes,
you've got
yeah.
a wage. You've got all of these things at your disposal. So how do you go about navigating coming out of it?
Well, I moved back home to my parents up in Inverness.
Yeah.
Because I was suddenly earning no money.
Yeah.
I walked into a local cafe and was like, I need a job, because I knew I needed to kind of fund the racing for the following year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess I started from zero again. After that, I kind of didn't have... I tried to go fill up my car with fuel one day and my car got declined, and I was like, oh, damn. Okay, yeah, no, we really need to sort that out. Really need to sort that out. So yeah, I just walked into a local cafe and was like, do you have a job for the winter? And I worked there all winter to kind of fund the next season of racing, which was cool. Like, again, it just felt like a big adventure. The next season started in like Chile, Colombia, like a huge kind of exciting trip, and I just knew I wanted to save up enough money to go and be able to race and ride there.
Right.
So it still felt like a fun pursuit, not like a chasing some Olympic dream. It felt like just fun for you.
As soon as I stopped cross country, that was it. Like, this enduro was like, I was purely doing it because I wanted it. Like, I wasn't, again, I was winning like the under 21 races, but I think the thing I enjoyed most was traveling like with Martha, with friends, with like going to these adventurous places, like hanging out with everyone. Like that was what I really loved about it. Yeah.
What was the like relationship with your parents like through this? Quite a kooky question, I know, but it's a massive thing, isn't it? Like, you've not gone to uni.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Like,
I think they were pretty uncertain to start with, because not going to university to go to the British cycling thing, it was like you say, like quite a pathway. Like, they were paying me, like it was all pretty set. Like,
yeah.
And then suddenly, yeah, no, I'm back living at home, working at a cafe, and then spending all my money, like...
Go to Chile.
Yeah, bye! I think for a while they were like, oh my goodness, like, what on earth is she doing? Yeah. They were supportive. They were really, they've always been super supportive. And they did just let me do it. And I think now it's easier to look back and go, okay, it was worth letting her do that, you know? But I think they were a little uncertain. There were definitely a lot of mentions of like, maybe you should apply for that uni course again. Maybe you should go do this course. Like, yeah, kind of.
What would you have done
out
of interest?
I'd applied for sports science, but that was a very generic, like, I have no idea what I want to do. So, like, the not going to university was also because I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, like I didn't have a specific job in mind. I wasn't working towards something specific by going to university. So in my mind, it was worth, like, taking these other opportunities. Yeah.
So cool. So you've made the move at this point to Enduro. What skills, mindset stuff translated over from cross country that you took over to Enduro?
The fitness was a huge help to start with. Like, when I started racing Enduro, the EWS was still like 2 days practice, 2-day race at most races.
Right.
Huge days.
Yeah.
So like the fitness was a massive help. I feel like I did have a decent amount of like technical skills. Like, I got round all the courses pretty well. And I guess I'd learned a lot about being an athlete through the cross country kind of stuff. So like about eating and
pizza,
hydration. Well, yeah, swung slightly the other way. How good pizza and ice cream are.
Were there any surprises?
Yeah, I crashed every single stage in my probably through that whole first year of racing. Like just trying to go full gas. Like, I was like, really, really trying to push, like, bit reckless. Again, it was just exciting, you know, like this different form of racing. I was like, they were kind of like, go at the top, and I was like, okay. And I was crashing a real lot.
Right.
But it was still exciting and fun.
So what was it you learnt to just sort of like relax or pace yourself as you did more races?
Yeah, I guess I probably improved quite a lot. Like, at the time, I didn't think I was too bad, but I now look back at videos of some of my riding, and I think my skills did develop going all of these different places, riding like on all the different terrain. Like, going to Chile as my second ever EWS, like, there's that anti-grip, you know, it's like deep, kind of sandy. It's like, of course I was going to crash it. I'd never ridden anything like it before, you know? So, like, just going all of these different places and getting used to riding on anything that wasn't mud was,
Yeah.
This is fascinating. Honestly, what a journey already so far. But we're just going to go to a quick ad break.
Davey, today I want to show you my top 3 security tips. All right?
Nice.
Okay. And top 3 reasons why you're not getting my bike.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're a bike thief, get the out of here.
Yeah, unsubscribe. Cool.
And these are all what? HIPLOK products?
They absolutely are. They're the number one in bike technology, anti-bike theft technology.
Of course.
And here in front of me, I have the D1000, which is, of course, angle grinder proof. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Mate, it is angle grinder proof. Yeah, this is one of the newest products that they've released, man. It's one of, I mean, it's already an iconic bike security product. It
is, absolutely. It uses ferrosafe anti-cutting technology.
Yes.
I don't know what that means, but I do know what it does. And what it does is it melts angle grinder discs. So there's no way of you actually getting through this. I've seen the videos. They're pretty crazy.
It is. It's the most common way that bikes get stolen is with those battery-powered, cordless angle grinders.
So quick, so easy for thieves. Not with the D1000.
No.
Next up, I've got... So this is like my daily driver. I would use this... Let's say I'm popping into a petrol station, bike's locked up on the back of the car.
Yeah.
Let's say
fuel in the e-bike.
I'm going to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I'm just leaving it outside, and maybe the road's a bit busy. This is like my light security option and one that I keep on my frame. It's the Z-Lock Combo. You might be familiar with the Z-Lock before that has a small key. It's basically a security zip tie. Is that how you would...
I'd say it's a lightweight security tie.
Not zip tie. You wouldn't say that.
Yeah, zip tie.
It's along those lines, though,
It's
right?
along those lines.
So
yeah,
this is a
along those
3-digit code. It's got 45 centimeter locking length, and it's reinforced steel core.
Yeah.
It's also got, this is really cool. This is my new find. I haven't used it yet.
Ooh.
But this is the AirTag holder.
Nice.
So I can hold it on my frame, put an AirTag in there, double safe.
Okay, amazing. Love your security tips, mate. Absolutely love them. And if people listening or watching this want to find out more, simple, right? We've got our own URL set up now, and we're going to give away an exclusive discount.
What?
Yeah, man.
How much? What's the discount?
Well, you're going to have to go over and find out. Okay, if you head over to hiplok.com/TRC.
Yeah.
What is it? hiplok.com/.
I think it's hiplok.com/TRC. Is
yeah,
that right?
punch in your email address there, and HIPLOK are going to send you an exclusive discount on us, and you can claim it, and you can make sure that all your stuff's safe.
Hey, dude, what a nice surprise that would be. Better than a nasty surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, nice surprise is better than a nasty surprise.
Yeah.
So hiplok.com.
There
is. hiplok.com/TRC. Get your exclusive discount. Support the podcast. Support an amazing brand. You might have seen Ben on here. He's an amazing dude, amazing company, great ethos. It's just good vibes all around.
Keep your bike safe with HIPLOK. Thanks, HIPLOK.
Thanks, HIPLOK.
We're back in.
I thought you were going to start singing. Seems to be the thing that we started doing now. Let's start singing.
Singing's nice.
Singing is nice. Do you sing?
I sing in the shower and I sing in the car.
That's what people are here for,
like
dude.
really, really loud. But I'm not so good, so I only do it on my own.
Right.
Only on my own.
So
Yeah,
not now,
you're not
you're
going to
not-
get a song.
no,
No,
okay, all right.
I've never done karaoke either. So I would definitely not sing now.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently this building makes you be
I
able to
do.
sing, right? Because all the
Yeah, right.
history and...
That's what
When
make,
you
make
actu-
me in tune. If I
Yeah, when
sang
you
here.
actually
Yeah.
get to celebrate your win, maybe you could do a karaoke night. Just an idea.
It wouldn't be what I choose to do. It would not be my celebration of choice.
Right, so if we're going back, at what point did you realise you were really good at enduro?
Phew. That first year that I raced the whole series, so I did finale, then went to Chile, Colombia, and that year was the first year that I raced the whole series of EWS, straight in, back-to-back cross-country into enduro. And I was in the under-21 category at that point, and I won all of those under-21 races. So I was like, oh, there could be something here, this is quite enjoyable. And then, yeah, I guess at that point I was like, okay, I'm probably better at this than I was at cross-country. That's when it dawned on me, and then sponsors kind of started speaking to me and stuff. Cannondale were I was racing on a Cannondale already that first year, and they were like prepared to step up their support for the next year, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I think I could make something out of this. And this was the first time that I was like learning about sponsorship and like people like actually having this as their job, you know, like people getting paid to do this. I don't know what I thought before that. I don't know why I thought these people were racing around the world, but like it was the first, like my first experience of kind of, yeah, the sponsorship side of things.
So those first few years then of racing, well, the first year especially,
Yeah.
did you full privateer, you raised the money and you went and did it?
So, I had a pretty crazy experience actually. I was on a Cannondale that first year, and they did give me a few £1,000s, but like fully like stab in the dark, you know, like I don't know why they gave me,
Really?
you know, like, well, I'd raced one EWS and
I can't think why.
well, no,
You know now.
no, but I'd raced like one EWS in finale the previous year, and I sent an email out to the boo like, crazy little girl wants to race like the full series the next year, like trying to find some money to do, you know, like that's quite a chance, you know, to like give him some bikes and stuff. But yeah, it was Clive Gosling at the time. Saw the email and was like, yeah, we'll do that, you know, like.
Wow.
So I had a bit of support that first year, yeah, from Cannondale, some bikes, like a bit of a financial contribution, which was amazing. And then yeah, I'd worked to kind of save the rest of the money over the winter.
So nothing really came over from British Cycling. That's like all separate.
We didn't
They
need
handle
any
all that.
sponsorship at British Cycling. They gave us the bikes, they gave us everything we
Yeah.
needed, and we didn't even really learn about sponsorship or anything. So like, yeah, I had no idea. So it was like
Really?
my first time people were being like, oh, you just email and like make a CV or something like that. So I was on like Word, chucking some photos and stuff in, yeah, to send over to some people.
Man, it sounds so fun and positive, and like you described enduro as enjoyable. You're going from race to race, winning, and then like sponsorships happening.
Yeah, it was a really exciting time, really, really exciting.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And it's carried on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just remember like, I look back at those years and I'm like, that was like, yeah, like a really great time, you know? I was just traveling with friends and yeah, finding more and more bits of support places, and it was really helping.
How do the tracks compare? I mean, it's again kind of kooky question, but maybe people listening to this would like to know more about what's the difference between like a cross country descent
Yeah, okay.
and an enduro, like EDR one.
Yeah, so cross country is like usually like a 15-minute kind of in time lap, and you're racing up, down, you know, like some big climbs, some descents in it. They're getting more and more technical, so like there are technical things for the bike that you're on, you know, you're on a really short travel little bike.
Yeah.
So there were some kind of technical things, but nothing, I never found them too difficult. And then enduro were out for maybe like 6-7 hours in a day, a lot longer, like 50 kilometers of riding, up to kind of a couple of 1,000 meters of climbing a day. We're pedaling up to the top of mountains to then race down these gnarly descents. And, well, the descents range from everything, you know, like you could have something that's kind of like flowy, but then we could also, we race down some old downhill tracks as well, you know, it's like we're just racing this like huge range of tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some like gnarly stuff. There are like sections that I get to still and I'm like, I don't know exactly how to ride this, you know, like it feels like a bit of a gamble. Which is cool, you know,
That's
like,
good, it's
yeah,
exciting.
it does.
Are cross-country tracks not really like that, especially when you get to a certain level? You're just like, oh, I just literally pedal around this thing. Like,
I don't know. I think since I've stopped cross-country, they've got more and more technical. So, like, I'm watching some of them now on TV, and I'm like, that looks gnarly. That looks really gnarly. And it rained in Leogang this year, and that looked absolutely terrifying. They're like sliding down on these little bikes down super rooty stuff that like we might race down that in an enduro like, and you wouldn't think it was out of place. And no, I think it's got more technical since I've stopped racing cross country.
okay,
Yeah, I think you notice as well more riders having more kind of descending skill. Obviously that everyone always has, but like you can see him look more relaxed on descents, I feel like.
Yeah, there's some super stylish, cool looking riders in cross country now, which is cool. Yeah.
How do race day vibes at an enduro kind of like compare to a cross country event?
When I first started racing, like those first few years, it was like all just like good vibes. Everyone was out for like a super good time, you know, like it felt quite casual compared to cross country. It was like everyone just wanted everyone to like finish, get round these like big challenging days. And cross country was like pretty serious. Like you're on the start line bar to bar with people. Like you're like looking at them like this, like am I going to beat you or not, kind of thing.
Wow,
so like it was a lot more kind of tense, serious. Enduro has developed quite a lot over the past few years, I think. So like I don't have totally the same vibe on a race day now as I did when I started, but I think that happens as the sports like got more professional, become World Cup, you know, like I guess I'm now fighting to win these like proper world level races. Like it has definitely got a lot more serious since my first few years of racing. But it still feels like a nice day out on the bike a lot of the time.
How interesting. I don't know why. I kind of, from the outside looking in, you'd think XC is a bit more in a box, like I don't know. I don't really know.
And just like bar to bar, I think that's always different.
That changes
like,
it,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like not the clock. The clock changes it a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a definite sense. Like in cross country, you're racing against your competitors, you know. But like in enduro, if you get into the right mindset, you're kind of trying to do your best on a trail, you know, rather than like you're not thinking about beating someone else like in the stage, you know.
Was there a specific moment in your XC career where you were like, done? This is.
I was riding around
knock on the door from Tracy, which is quite sick.
Well, I guess for a while I was riding round races thinking, I hate this, I'm just going to stop after this one. You know, like I'm just going to tell people I don't want to do it. But I never really had the balls to actually say that out loud. So like there was a bit of a relief, I think, when they said like, bye-bye, you're not on the programme. I could have kept racing cross country. I could have like done that myself, you know, but like for me that was a sudden like, thank God. I actually don't want to do that anymore. It's
quite interesting to think, isn't it, that there's probably people out there with the talent, the drive or whatever that just don't fit into that box that you put into of like, this is how you have to behave, this is how you have to train, this is what you have to do. Like imagine if you'd come at XC with the enduro mindset, it could be totally different.
I know, I do look back. Cool. I do look back and I'm like, if I'd done it like my way, like would I have been good at that? Maybe, I don't know.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's lots of sports like cross country is one that kind of exist as a race. Well, like cross country is, you can go for a cross country ride. Let's say cyclocross. That's basically just a race, isn't it? Like no one really pedals around on a cyclocross bike.
I guess it would kind of be gravel now, wouldn't it? But
I guess so, yeah.
But yeah, you know, you're right.
It's kind of different though, isn't it? It's like, whereas enduro is the closest, I guess I only speak for myself, but it's the closest thing to a normal bike ride for me. Yeah.
No, and it still feels like that when you're racing. You're like, you're riding stuff and you're like, this is actually what I would go out and do if I wasn't racing still. You know, like we're riding to the top to race down, and that's the reason I ride my bike anyway, is I ride to the top so I can descend. Like that's the fun part. So yeah.
Wicked.
Okay, so moving forward, under 23s, you won every race in 2018,
so at the time they had an under 21 category, this random cross in enduro. Yeah. So I won all of those.
Won all them.
Yeah.
Won them all. We'll move on. Won them all. And did that obviously help bring sponsors to you? And then you've put together a bit of a deck. You've got proper support. So what about your first year elite? Like what was that like?
It was a big step up moving from under 21 to elite. Like you can kind of compare your times, you know, when you're in two different categories, but it's not till you're actually racing you're like, oh no, I've got quite a lot to work on here.
Okay.
So my first couple of races in elite were in Tasmania and New Zealand. So again, like super like fun trips. I was still just traveling with friends at this point, not on like a team or anything. And I didn't get absolutely smoked, but I was like 11th, 12th, like a good way down the kind of results sheet. And I finished and I was like, oh, well, that was fun, but quite a way back there. And it was actually Sven Martin, the photographer, walked up to me after, I can't remember which one it was, but after those first couple of races and was like, Ella, what are you doing? Like, let off your brakes. You know, he was like, you're riding so safe compared to everyone else. And I don't know what had changed from that first year, like pushing, crashing, you know, but he was like, just let it go, just get a bit looser, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't really know how to do that. But at the next race in Madeira, like I really like took that comment, you know, and I was like, okay. The next race in Madeira, I was like, okay, just let off your brakes. And then I was on the podium and I was like, okay, cool, thank you, Sven. It's like, it was wild because it was such like a small comment. He probably wouldn't even remember, you know. He was just like, you're not pushing enough, like, go for it. And then I went for it and I was like, oh, okay, cool, we're back. Like, that's like, yeah. And I remember that race as the first time that like, I'd had a really solid enduro race and I was like, okay, that's how it should feel. I wasn't like pushing, crashing, reckless, and I wasn't just like riding like super slow and safe. I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm riding well. Yeah.
What does it feel like? What is that thing?
It's cool. Like, I just remember carrying so much speed, you know, like I was just like looking around all the corners, like letting off the brakes properly. Like, it was a really dry race. It was super dusty. So I kind of felt like I was just floating over all the dust. It was, a sick feeling.
So at that point, you're just figuring the sport out in a way. Even though you've already done a few years in the elite level, you're just figuring out, like, what does it take to be
a podium
contender?
I think that was it. Like, it was really only, like, my second year of racing enduro, if you look at it.
Yeah.
It's like... And there were 8 EWS a year, so I hadn't actually done that many enduro races yet. So I was just kind of figuring it out by doing. And by, like, speaking to other riders, people like Sven being like, get your shit together. Like, yeah.
What does figuring it out look like? Like, how's your mind, like, what happens now when you drop into a race? Because I'm always really interested in this. And in a downhill race, you can imagine it's just got to be as fast as physically possible, nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
But in enduro race, there's a little bit more tactics, right?
There can't be. I guess I did spend a few years, even after that, getting super caught up in my head, like super like either scared of crashing, you know, like thinking about it a bit too much, and worked with a psychologist for a while. And I've got to this point in my racing now where it feels like I can really like focus on the trail in front of me and read the trail, you know? So like, I guess we don't know where we're going to the same extent as the downhill races. So you've got to read the trail. Like, often we've not just done them when we race. So like, you might have practiced a day or two before, like it's rained, or like sometimes in a full open race, like the amateurs go through between our practice and race. So there are more holes. There are like tapes blown out. I don't know. So you've got to be eyes up and reading the trail. So like, I feel I've got to this point that in the stages now, I'm so focused on like reading the trail. I'm like, so I'm almost like speaking to myself in my head, like keeping my eyes up, like thinking about breaking points, like pumping, like. So I feel like that's what goes through my head now, and it feels like a healthy point in my racing. You know, like I'm not thinking about crashing. I've got all of those thoughts out of my head, basically. Yeah.
We had this same conversation yesterday, obviously, with Iago.
Yeah.
About practice and how helpful that is. And I think it is. It seems to be different for every rider. Like, some people will ride probably better blind or whatever. So for you, like, what's the benefit of a practice run? That sounds a bit silly, but like, do you retain a lot of information? Does it still feel blind? Like,
I don't manage to remember the whole trail.
Right.
You know, like, there are some riders who will finish the trail, watch their GoPro, and they can like think through it all after one run. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to get to that point. For me, practice is really useful to see that there's not anything that you're going to die on. You know, like, if I can think about the trail and be like, it's all good, then I know I just need to keep my eyes up and like ride as fast as I can. You know, like, I'm not going to come around the corner and there's something insane. Yeah. So I kind of have that memory. I guess I try and remember a few specific lines. So if there's like place on the track where you know like I need to be here, I'll memorize like what's coming up before that, so that I know I'm getting to that point.
Yes.
And maybe I'll try and memorize like super blown out corners or places that might be like holes or something, you know, come race day. But yeah, it still feels kind of blind. Like, you're riding down the trail like, oh, I remember this section, but like I still don't remember exactly where I'm
meant to
going.
be.
Which is fine.
We've had various people on the show obviously over the years, and Joe Barnes really sticks out to me still, of like, he can photographic memory pretty much every track and just be like, I just know exactly where to be.
No, that's insane.
Bit of a cheat code, I feel like. And there was a few other examples yesterday of people that say they've got photographic memory and can just remember the whole thing. Was it Martin Mays? I can't remember someone.
Some of the riders like Martin for a few years didn't even watch GoPros, didn't even bother recording, rode down and then raced, you know, and he'd win races, not having watched back the track, anything. Like, to me, that's crazy. And I think for a while I tried to remember the whole track, but it almost made me hesitate more. And like while I was riding, I was like trying to remember, like, oh, is this section coming up? You know, like,
oh, it's not that.
So like I couldn't remember it, and I was trying, and yeah, I don't think it really helped. So I just have let that go. Yeah.
How do you deal with messing up a line on a track? Because I think in enduro on a long day like that, you can mess up. You will over 8 stages or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you approach, like, let's say the front goes over a turn, you dab and pedal off. What's going through your mind?
Oh, I don't think it affects me too much if I mess up a line. You know, like, it happens a lot, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, it's so unpredictable, and you're like pushing faster than you were in practice. So like you're hitting things for that speed for the first time, kind of thing. Yeah. So things go wrong, and yeah, I think I've got over that kind of thing. As long as I don't crash, it doesn't really bother me. I'm like, oh yeah, sweet, we're carrying on. When you crash, there's a moment of like franticness, you know, like of getting back on, like trying to go, and like, yeah, that's for me. That's harder to deal with, like trying to ride properly still after you crash. Like not trying to make up time, you know, because then you crash again. But
I always find it super impressive when you watch like the any of the footage from EDR and you see someone go off course, let's say, or maybe they put a knee down or whatever. If I do that, I'm just like, I'm so weak-minded that I'm like, this is pointless. You need to go home, just cruise the rest of the track. Yeah. Who cares? Didn't want to win it anyway.
No way.
Yeah, and when I watch people put a knee down, get back up, sprint off, I just think, whoa, that is so impressive. Yeah.
I think I'm the opposite. It's still not ideal, but like I crash and I'm like, I need to go, I need to get back on, like I need to make up time, you know, which doesn't help. But
making up time is a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is, because then you crash again and you're like, oh, now I really need to make up time. Yeah, no, I had a nightmare this year in Leo Gang. Like it was super wet, and we practiced in the dry and then raced in the wet. It's like everything had changed quite a bit, so many routes, and I think it was the 4th stage I crashed like 4 times. Like it was just again. My brakes were like wild angles, like, and every time I was like, I need to get back on and make up time, and it just got worse and worse. So yeah, it doesn't work.
No. So I'd say, and I saw you've mentioned in a few interviews that you're quite a calculated rider.
Yeah.
Like you've kind of alluded to that a little bit there. But what in your like description, what is being a calculated rider as opposed to being the young reckless crashing rider which you may have been before?
I want to be quite certain that I can like ride a line or like hit a jump, or like it's quite certain I can do it before I do it. You know, like yes, I push myself, but like I don't just send myself off stuff at random speeds or like hit stuff way faster than I know I can ride. I guess it's come as my riding's improved a little bit as well. I think I'm a bit more aware of like my ability and can kind of ride to my ability and do quite well, I guess. So like there isn't that need to kind of ride over that. But yeah, I think maybe some of it comes from fear as well. You know, like specifically with like features or jumps and stuff, like I have that kind of gut feeling of whether I can do it or not. Yeah. And even if it's pushing past that fear, and sometimes I can make myself do it and sometimes not. So I kind of listen to that, I guess.
I feel like it's really a similar approach to when we had Tani on. She was talking a lot about that, about having to see someone do it first, or just being way more calculated than what people might just think watching, you know? Yeah. There's a lot more of a process going into it, and you know.
For sure.
Do you carry the same approach through to life and training? Is it all quite calculated, or?
Yeah. Well, for training, I think I have a bit more of like a holistic approach compared to some riders.
Amazing.
Like,
okay.
I know a lot of riders who are like super regimented, still train like kind of cross country, like, and I learned that didn't work for me, you know. So like I now have found a coach. She's actually a friend, and we kind of collaborate, work together more than I've had with other coaches before. So like it feels like a really nice balance of like what I want to do, what I need to do, what I'm actually gonna do. You know, like there's an element, there's no point setting insane training if I look at it and go, well, I'm not gonna do that. You know, like, or like I don't mean insane training. I mean like strict training. You know, so like I would say I train as much as the other riders. Like I put everything I can in, but it's in a really enjoyable way. I guess.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sustainable, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
It can be really damaging if you get set a plan and then don't keep up to it, I imagine. Or if you constantly feel like you're letting the trader down, I can imagine that's really crap, actually.
Yeah.
Counterproductive.
I think so. See, and I've got to the point where it's like you say, balanced, sustainable, like it, is my whole year's enjoyable, you know, like I'm riding and having fun as well as training. And I think it's quite easy to lose that when you're trying to train to win like World Cup level sport.
Yeah. So how's things changed from those first few years in elite, or that first year? I can't remember. I'm losing track.
Yeah, no, that's right.
To now, like, what's it look like now? You know, you still, we were talking about it over breakfast, I guess, but technically privateer, but sort of not, sort of are. I don't really, not a full factory team as such.
Yeah.
It's not, you know.
Yeah.
So what does that look like now? And I guess you're always mindful of balancing it being enjoyable, not too strict. So I guess that's something that you really consider.
For sure. I think that's played into kind of like how I've chosen things my whole career, you know? So like, Iago and I have this really nice setup. We have the support we need in Carlos, our mechanic. Iago helps me a lot at the races. He races himself too, but is also a huge part of my racing.
A veteran of the sport, some might say.
Yeah, and it's been around a while. But we have this really nice setup, like it feels quite relaxed. I'm traveling with people I want to ride with. Most of our sponsors are like individual sponsors still, so I've been able to basically pick all of the brands I want to work with, which is lovely, really, really cool. But yeah, I still have the support that I need, so we found this really nice balanced setup. Because it's just the three of us like traveling to all the races, we have a lot of freedom over like where we go, when we go, kind of other events we might like to go to, you know, like it. Yeah, it's still like that super enjoyable traveling that I spoke about from the first EWSs I did.
If you looked at a factory team, I'm guessing there are factory teams at EDR, right? They are there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that they have that you think you'd benefit from at this point, or vice versa?
It's hard. Like, it's easy to look at the factory teams and go like, oh, they've got like physios or someone like cooking food for them, and like occasionally that would be quite useful. But I wouldn't trade what I have now for that. Like I could, you know, like I've had a lot of offers from factory teams over the years, but like every time my gut feeling has been to stick to like what I was doing. For those first years, that was traveling with friends.
Wow, yeah.
And then once Iago and I were together, like that was traveling with him, and that's always been my gut feeling, you know, is to stick to doing that.
So cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the wild Thornberrys of Enduro. Travelling around to all these different races, going down crazy stuff and working out lines and...
It's quite entertaining.
It's mad.
Working, which is really sick as well, right?
Well, that's it. I'm really glad I've kind of got to this point where I'm finally winning a few World Cups, because I think if I hadn't, I would have looked back and gone, oh, maybe I should have gone for a factory team, you know, like for endurance, seeing what it was like, you know. But like, I think it's shown me that was the right kind of path for me to go down.
Yeah,
certainly seems to be.
Yeah.
It definitely seems to be.
I mean, I guess it's quite difficult position to be in a way. If you've just won, it's like you go into the next year, I guess, wanting to make improvements, but it's like it sounds kind of stupid, but like how do you look at it objectively if you have won before the season is over? Like things have gone very well.
Yes, you mean for the next races or for the
next races and next season? Like how do you improve on it? Like I guess.
Well, I guess
why?
Why?
Yeah.
Or I think if anything, it kind of actually adds pressure. You know, like I've won, and I feel like people will have that expectation, and I know I definitely have that expectation of myself now as well. So for the race in the Twio, when I came second, it's insane, but I was like a little disappointed. I was like, oh, I've won the previous few. Like, oh, like I kind of put that pressure and expectation on myself for the first time to be up there. And I think the last World Cup of the season will be pretty relaxed, but then we have World Champs, so like a kind of race for the rainbow stripes. I can see I'll put quite a lot of pressure on myself for that one. Like, I guess that's the next goal, so we'll see how that goes. And then next season, I guess I try and defend this World Cup overall title, but there's so much goes into an enduro season. Like you said, like you're making mistakes, crashing, mechanicals, like injuries, like over 30, 40 minutes of racing a day, you know, like a lot of that happens. So like, yeah, to aim to win like an overall is quite an ambitious and kind of risky goal, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's a big task to take on, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of need to take on all the little tasks.
Well, that was it. My goal coming into this season was to kind of win some races, you know, rather than win the overall. I was like, I want to go into each race and try and win rather than, necessarily aim for like the huge overall.
Well, it sounds like you're super self-aware about how, like, in terms of your program and stuff, you've made it work for you, really. So I guess nothing really changes next year. You know that maybe added pressure wouldn't be necessary. You've already put enough on yourself.
Yeah, I think as well in this program we've built, like there's not so much of the external pressure, you know, like once you're traveling with a team and there's these other people like helping you behind you there at the venue, like of course I want to do well for my sponsors and the people supporting me. But the way I've built it, I don't feel crazy external pressure, you know. And I think I learned from British cycling and the cross-country days
lived through it.
that actually didn't work for me, you know. So like, I think that's all kind of played into how I've built the kind of program we have. Yeah.
I think when you watch a race, you don't really think about like all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But seeing my friends sign for big teams and seeing how many people work there, that used to like really creep me out. Like when you find like that's actually not conducive to a good result for me. Like having like that many people around you and doing work for you, like it makes the result seem much more
important.
It kind of makes it clear how important it actually is, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really impressive those people, like how they manage to deal with that pressure. Like I guess I couldn't deal with that pressure with British cycling, like, and that's kind of like a downfall in a way. Like I couldn't get that pressure out of my mind. So yeah, I think it's impressive the people on the huge teams, how they manage to put that aside or like thrive under that pressure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I really thought that. This is slightly off topic, I'm sorry, but when we went to McLaren for that tour, and you turn up there and you see like thousands of people
paying their mortgages off
you going around that track.
Terrified.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Like, that must be so scary to just drive up there just going like, oh my God, look at this building, all these resources.
Yeah, like the fountain, like just the motor that pumps the fountain alone. I'm like, oh man, that relies on me driving my car around the track super fast.
I think there are some people that thrive under that pressure though.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I imagine.
Wouldn't.
No.
I'd be like reversing out of there.
Yeah.
Nope.
We touched on this yesterday a little bit with the Argo, but the current state of the sport. Before we move on and talk about other things,
Sure.
how have you seen that progress? Have you been as you've been involved in it? It's going in a positive direction? Would you say? For the sport and also for women's cycling. I really want to make sure we talk about that because we don't have many women on here.
For sure. Cool. Yeah, it's like interesting. I feel like enduros, it's like any sport, like anything in life. It like goes in waves, eh? So like when I came into enduro, it was definitely on this steep incline, you know, like it was like getting better and better, more and more support, which was really cool. And then, maybe over these first couple of years of World Cups, since it's turned into like this World Cup and industry's been struggling, you know, like it's maybe plateaued a little, which has been like tough to be a part of, you know, when you put everything into a sport and like the hype isn't quite so big, you're like, like it's, a bit of a shame. But this year's been super positive, which has been amazing. Like we've seen a few changes in enduro format again. We've gone back to some 2-day races, which is huge, and it just adds to the media exposure we get from the races. Adds to that kind of like we were speaking about before, that like inspirational. Like these pros are doing these huge 2-day races. I couldn't like get round that, you know. So like we've really felt that like increased energy. Like the riders are really excited because the racing's like close, and I think the coverage is improving again this year as Warner Brothers kind of get their head round like covering all of these races. The highlights are being better. There's a docu-series coming this year for Enduro. So like this year we felt like a real increase in energy again at the races, which has been
I guess
sick.
we can kind of tease that because people know that the docu-series is coming out.
Yeah.
But you're going to be a massive part of the docu-series. So what's that been like?
It's been really cool. They've
Yeah.
been filming a lot more at the races, getting a lot of interviews, which I think you get like way more snippets of kind of what's going on in Enduro. Like it's hard to capture all those people like having eventful days, you know, like really hard to show all of that because again, so much goes on during an Enduro race. So they've been really, really good at like grabbing riders, getting loads of interviews, a lot of details, filming a bit more behind the scenes. So yeah, I'm really excited to see it.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
really
a big
excited.
team? Is it obvious where they are? Like,
You know what? It's quite a small team. Like
Oh,
they
really?
still
Yeah.
only have a few videographers. So yeah, it's impressive what they're managing to do. I think. Yeah.
Sick. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing it actually. I think it'll
Yeah.
be we sort of like bench-stressed yesterday a little bit about how to cover Enduro better, and I believe it was Iago really came with a great idea of they sort of have filmers on the hill all day
Yeah.
building out a story and then live broadcast, which they did at the Tweel.
Yes. Yeah.
Only down to the finish, I think, but like
Yeah.
live broadcast the final stage, re-index everybody, so that
Yeah.
you've got like last through to first, and have that tell the story. Being able to tune in and watch that would actually be quite good, I think.
For sure.
'Cause
Yeah.
you can see the struggles, right? Like it's quite obvious to see that filming it and broadcasting it is really difficult.
It
you're,
is.
You're out for 6 hours a day. Everyone's split up.
Same
little
with
bit.
World Rally.
Yeah,
they're
it's
just
so
different.
Yeah.
difficult.
Logistically, just very difficult. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
And I'm not sure that's ever going to work or happen. So it's like finding these other ways that actually suit the sport, like
Yes.
I don't think a live broadcast has to be the like be all end all, like there are lots of other ways to kind of show the story around the race and the amazing places we are. So
Yeah.
Pinkbike did a really good video with Katie Winton this week, like story of the race, and that was sick to see, like them coming back in and yeah, showing a bit more of what we do. That's a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah.
If you could have the keys to the sport right now, like what would you do? Have you got?
Nice.
Is there anything that you're like, we could do with this or that, or?
I'm excited to see how the docu-series work. I think you need that more like in-depth
Yeah.
kind of showing of the drama and bits and bobs that happen. I think that's a really good way to show it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'm really interested in. Again, we don't get many world champions on the show, so I'd love for you to kind of walk through a race week for us,
Okay.
because I'd love to
Cool.
know like tangible things that people can take away as well. Listen to this. Maybe they're doing a big ride at the weekend. Maybe they're entering the first race. Little tips along the way for a race week of like how you prepare, how you practice, and then what a race day looks like.
Okay. Oh, let's have a think.
I mean,
There's a lot goes
again,
in.
it's super interesting, right? Even down to nutrition and like,
For sure.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I'd love for you to try and.
Yeah, for sure. So we usually arrive to these venues like a few days before the race. The first thing is kind of getting bikes prepped, I would say. So our mechanic takes suspension off, that goes to RockShox, and we get like full suspension service at every race. And then he's going through the bike, checking all the bearings, like full strip and rebuild basically, make sure that's all in order.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of questions.
That's all right.
Do you have race bike, practice bike?
We travel with one bike at the moment. Yeah, one race bike each. We have all the spares in the world we could need, but
Yep.
no. I like to be on the same bike. You have a feeling from a bike, I know some riders switch between bikes, but like I like to feel really comfortable, and I don't like the idea of kind of switching between
Okay.
two different bikes like in a
Alright.
race week,
Yeah.
No, so poor guy has his work, Carlos has his work cut out kind of things. We rinse the bikes between the races, then we turn up to the next race and he redoes it all. And then I guess we're looking at kind of local area as well. So we often go for a ride before practice, ride some trails, kind of see what the terrain's like, what the trails are like. Think a little bit about tyres. Pre-practice, like look at the forecast. Is it going to be dry, wet? Think about which tyres we'd like set up and ready to go for those situations. And then food is a huge one, especially now that we have a couple of these 2-day races back. You've got 2 days practice, 2-day race, so like 4 huge days of riding back to back. You might be out for like 6-7 hours each day. And this is something I've kind of worked on, I guess, since being with British Cycling. I've basically found the more I eat, the better I feel. It's like a really basic, you know, like I haven't reached that limit yet of like eating being detrimental, which is really cool. So my fueling over the last couple of years has got so much better. I guess before practice, before race, we're thinking about prepping lunch and dinner. So those are kind of ready to go when we need them. So like you have your meals. And then I'm also thinking about how many hours we're going to be out, like how big the climbs are and what I need to eat for each of those hours.
Okay.
And I'll eat a mix of like bars, gels, energy drink. I do really like to eat some real food. There are a few riders now who have gone full kind of endurance athlete and are purely on like energy drink and gels. But that makes me feel a little funky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
what
like
food do you eat then? What real food?
I often bake some banana bread or make some like rice cakes or just like energy bars.
Okay, so that's
energy
in
bars.
like that's
That
during
would be
the race day.
like during practice or race, like when I'm out riding. I'll generally have each hour I'll aim for like some either a bit of real food, so like some cake, rice cakes, a bar, a gel, and maybe a bit of energy drink or some electrolytes. So that's kind of my like hourly. I'll try and have all of those things.
Got you. Night before, what are we talking? Because I'm always interested in that.
Yeah. My go-to is something with rice.
Okay.
Like, and a lot of rice. You know, like you need quite a lot of carbs for these huge days, and like that's quite an easy thing to digest. And yeah, body seems quite happy with that. So like, usually chicken and rice in some form, you know?
Yeah.
Some form, something quick. Trying to think what else.
What about
What else
after? Like at the end of the day?
Yeah, so
What
I
does
guess in
recovery
those like
look like?
multiple days, like it's super important. I often have a protein shake as soon as we like finish practice, kind of get the body taking over, recovering. And then we're lucky that we have Carlos, because he kind of takes care of all that mechanic side, like goes and washes bikes, deals with all that, which is amazing. And we can focus on, if it's after practice day, start watching GoPros. So we'll start watching all of the tracks that we've just ridden that day and try and like learn lines, learn important parts, ready for racing them, and then cook dinner and early bed. Like it's a long day out on the bike, especially when you're riding the whole course. Stopping like within the stages during practice to like push up and down, find lines, you know, like those are huge days out.
Yeah. What do you do for body recovery?
Have a little stretch and activate, I guess, a bit of mobility before I start the next day, but like not a huge amount. Like we don't have a physio with us.
No.
I don't find like cold stuff especially helpful for me. So like, make sure I lie down with my legs up and then go to bed early. Like, not too much. Yeah,
I love it
not
when it's so basic.
Not
It's actually
overcomplicate
better.
it. It's
like
like
not overcomplicated. If you're like, I'm gonna do this yoga thing, and you'd be like, okay.
Yeah. No, I have like a few exercises to kind of warm up old injuries before I start.
Okay.
Start the next day, but
there's
nothing
kind of
too crazy.
cheat codes.
Pardon?
There's kind of no cheat codes.
No, there's not. Like it's quite simple. Eat enough, sleep enough. You know, like make sure your bike's ready to go, and
So you and Iago watch the GoPros together. What's that like, being a couple and kind of at work together with a bunch of bike tracks on GoPros?
Yeah, watching the GoPros is the easy part together. You know, there's not too much tension when we're watching GoPros. It's like we usually watch through both of our GoPros, which is cool because we sometimes take different lines, find different lines, or like if I watch through his, I might see how he rides in a section, or be like, oh, you missed this line. You know, it's like. And then we'll watch through mine as well, and he'll often point out bits where I wasn't quite in the right place, you know, or again, like I might have found a line that he didn't, something like that. So that's super useful, really, really useful.
I guess he's done it for so many years as well, and he's got to be quite a good person to have for advice, actually. Yeah, no, it's good, and like he has a really good grasp of my riding as well. So like that's super useful to have someone who has such like a deep understanding of the way I ride and like what I'm capable of, because he can be, maybe he'll do a line sometimes and he'll be like, that's maybe slightly too risky, like don't go for it, or he'll do a line and be like, well, you can do that of course during the race. Like, obviously go it's
for
mega
it.
unique,
So, like,
actually, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is quite a
MTB power couple.
Yeah. Okay, we got the benefits.
Yeah.
What about the negatives?
Well, I'd say there's more benefits. Like, we're going through these huge highs and lows of racing, and we get to experience that together, which is amazing, because like those are like huge points in both of our lives at the moment, and we get to do all of that together. You know, like I don't think there's many people in that situation, so that's super cool. And like, we work together well as a team. So like, there's a GoPro stuff. There's like cooking, like washing our kid after racing. Like, we split that. You know, like we're both quite in a good routine of working together. Obviously, there's high tension moments. Like it's a pretty high pressure week. I think especially for me, because I want to try and win these races. Like, you're not always your like finest person under pressure. You know, like Yeah, so he helps me deal with that really well, actually.
I mean, if anyone understands, it's kind of a perfect thing, isn't it? Like,
no, we're lucky that it works. I guess like we started doing this together pretty early in our relationships. Like, we did figure out that like it was manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any pre-race rituals or anything that you always do? You know, some people do a little glove, I don't know, drop a helmet, I don't know. Is there anything that you have to do to tick off to make sure it's a successful day or week? Or
nothing specific, nothing
really,
crazy, no. Like, I guess I have ways that I kind of prepare for the stages, like, so that I don't get too caught up and too nervous and think about it too much. But really, like, simple things, like taking some really, like, deep, like, hard breaths, like filling my body with oxygen. If I'm kind of nervous and getting like a bit, caught up in my own head, I close my eyes and picture myself sprinting out of the start gate, because that's a really like simple, like tangible thing to think about, like something you're always going to do every stage, and like that part's not crazy and not scary, like you're just going to pedal hard, you know. It's like, that's kind of how I deal with like the nerves before the stage. But
how has your approach to bike setup changed as well? Obviously, you've gone through a huge learning curve, I guess, in a way, right, of like finding this new sport and figuring out mountain bikes and stuff like that. So how's it changed? And also, what are you riding now? I think that's quite interesting as well. Well, I can't say too much about my specific bike at the moment, all right.
Sadly, but it's insane. It's a really cool bike, so I'm excited for that one. Once I can say more. Bike setup's been an interesting one. So I was really fortunate that a couple of years into my racing, SRAM and RockShox came on board, and that was a huge part. Like, I think it was in my second year of elite racing, I got invited to one of their like tuning camps pre-season, and I'd never done anything to my bike. Like, I'd never set up anything. I'd kind of got sent a bike and gone away racing. Like, so that was a huge learning curve. So I had a few days with them, and it was the first time I'd have to think about all like the different bits on your bike, and they were asking me really specific questions to kind of prompt and kind of help me through that, which has been amazing. So each year since, at the start of the season, they help us with some tuning stuff on our suspension, which has been sick. So I'm now quite specific and kind of know what I like and I'm looking for on a bike, which is cool. So like, I know that I like a fairly fast rebound, like those little things, you know, like you learn what you want in a bike, and they're at every race to help. So if there's little tweaks we want to make pre-race, it doesn't feel quite right in practice, we're like changing tunes, a couple of clicks.
I think that's a huge thing for an athlete or any type of mountain biker, just kind of understanding what things are doing. For sure. And especially if it's way off and you don't really know.
It's not a given either, is it? You can be super fast and not have a clue or care.
No, I'm really into it. I like trying loads of different things. Like, I get really into it, and I think I can notice quite small changes, which is like both good and bad, you know, because when something's not quite right, I'm like, what's wrong, you know, and then like, but I do know what I'm looking for. So like, the more I race, the more I learn. And I guess this year we're setting up a new bike, which has been cool, because before that I was on the same bike, the Jekyll, for like 4 years of racing, which is a long time. So I got really in tune with that bike. And then this year we're kind of working out through the season. Like, I got the bike 2 weeks before the first World Cup of the year.
Oh, wow.
So like the first race of the year, I actually raced pretty
uncommon,
like,
really, to like get something
it is
new and
Yeah.
do a World Cup straight away.
I know, but like first ride, I beat all of my previous times on all our local tracks. So I was like, sick, we're going racing. Like, I'm ready, let's go. But we have been like tweaking at every race. So this is the first year that I've raced like actually quite different like suspension tunes kind of at every race, like working out different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does your relationship change like with Cannondale throughout that? Obviously, they joined you really early.
For sure.
And now
That's
you're
pretty cool, that,
world
isn't it?
champion. Like,
Yeah.
You've done that almost together.
It is wild. This is my 8th year in a Cannondale now. It's like,
Cannondale, sorry, I said Canyon, I think, sorry.
no, this is
Cannondale.
my 8th year in a Cannondale, which is pretty wild. It started off as that like support through Clive in the UK and has kind of grown, and it's really like special to be with the same brand, like you say, for all of that, like from the very, very start to kind of winning a World Cup overall. Like they've supported me through it all, which I think is cool. I've like had seasons that weren't so great, like no podiums kind of thing, and they've kind of thankfully seen that, I guess, that potential that we could reach this point.
It's really cool.
I kind of feel like it's how it should be. You don't see
100%.
much of it,
Yeah.
do you? Much brand loyalty. I love that development. Yeah,
The Hans Ray approach.
yeah.
Really cool.
It's solid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
What, slightly off topic again, but I feel like we're covering loads of stuff. What do you do to get away from racing?
Oh. Oh. No, it's a funny one. I feel like, well, I ride my bike for fun, which is wild, you know, like we were speaking about this with Ollie yesterday. When people ask you what to do other than riding, I'm always like,
Riding.
oh, damn, like I love riding my bike. Like I have other bits and bobs, and I think I'm trying to find other things, you know, like I love cooking, I love baking, like I love like smaller things like that. I've got into sewing recently, you know, like I do a few other sports, like a bit of trail running, a bit of snowboarding, like kind of those type of things. But the thing that I would still choose to do is go somewhere fun and ride my bike, which I think is great, you know?
Yeah.
And we've really made a point over the past couple of years of going on trips that feel more like a holiday to ride a bike, which has, again, been super important. It's like we went to Worcester last year, and for me, the only goal was to just go and hit some jumps, you know, have a good time, which is, like, that was one of the best riding trips of my life. And then it was the same in Chile this year. We were doing a race and filming, but we had a week afterwards that was purely about us going to hit some cool bike parks afterwards, and it was like just incredible. Actually, those are the times I ride best, you know, when it's just like full freedom.
Sick.
So yeah, I'm trying to think what else I do, but
I mean, sorry, go on.
No, I was just thinking it's actually a very difficult thing to balance. Like you're on the road so much, racing so much for such a large part of the year. If it gets even a bit miserable, it gets very miserable, doesn't it? It's like, it's like you're kind of all in.
Yeah, for sure. So I think finding those times to go on trips to like fully enjoy it has been huge, really important.
Yeah.
Has it changed? Like, I remember reading an early interview about you love riding in the rain. You're not bothered about those conditions and stuff. Has that changed? Like, as you live in Madrid. As you live in Madrid, and travel to beautiful locations, and, you know.
Oh, I think the novelty of riding in the rain and the snow has worn off a bit, actually, Sorry, everyone in Scotland. It really pains me to say that. I used to, like, thrive when it rained before a race. I'd be like, hell yeah, like,
sick.
I've got this, like, let's go. Like, I love these conditions. And now, like, this year, when it was, like, snowing in Poland before the race, I was like, I don't know if I would. Yeah, the novelty's warm. It's not funny anymore, you know, like, I was like, I'm a bit cold. Like, I can do this. Like, I know I can ride in these conditions. That's fine. But it's not the same, like, kind of entertainment value that it used to, which, I don't know whether I should admit that or not. But
That's cool.
yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. No.
We've got a load of listener questions that we need to get through.
Sick.
Yeah.
I think we
cool.
should jump on them because I'm mindful of your time after the break.
Mate, this one is the easiest ad read that we do. We're just going to speak from the heart. WORX have been a sponsor of ours for years, and we've both used the majority of the tools at this point.
Absolutely. I mean,
loads.
I've really sort of redone my house with WORX tools.
Yeah, I've got a plethora.
I bought in mine.
Show and tell.
This is you what? Sorry, yeah, it's show and tell.
Show and tell.
Exactly. So this is my Hydra shot, and I bought it in because I wanted to do show and tell and
Nice.
talk about the things that I really love about it.
Please.
Is that okay?
I'd love for you to do that, please.
So basically, one of the key things beyond the actual function of this, which we'll get into in a second, it's the fact that it's part of the PowerShare system. Now, every single power tool I own. And whether that's garden, home, DIY, my chainsaw, trail building. I've got 2 chainsaws.
Ooh.
I need to actually keep my voice down, otherwise WORX will hear and I'll stop sending me anything. I'm spoiled.
Yeah.
But this power share, this goes in everything I own. So I can't tell you how easy that makes life.
Yeah,
I've always
100%.
got something charged up. I'm not the most dialed with like having a set up charging area. So it's always good to know that you've always got batteries.
Yep. It's true.
Pop it in here in a waterproof case.
Nice. There it is.
And you're off to the races. Now this I use attached to my hose.
Yep.
But previously I've used it with the hose connection that goes into a water source. So you can do it from a bucket or a river. So you can have it in the back of your van
Yeah.
to clean your bike.
Yeah. Super handy. Portable, of course. Like I've done that before. I've finished a ride. I've been parked near a water source, whether it's a puddle or even actually taking water in
Portaloo.
a 25-litre drum.
I saw Davey once
Gave it
pressure
the
washing.
blue wash down. I dipped it into my bucket that I'd taken.
Yeah.
Washed the bike in the back of the van. Dry when you get home. Sometimes I even use my WORX leaf blower
No, you don't.
to dry a
I don't
bike.
have a leaf blower.
Gangs.
I best get on the
It's
emails.
so
I'm going to
cool.
get a leaf blower on the go.
But yeah, love this brand. Love the tools. Super easy. I mean, the Hydra Shot's become a MTB must, hasn't it?
I mean, it really has.
If you don't
It's
own
become-
one, you may as well not have bike.
Yeah, your bike's really going to end up landfill.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
This is actually the nitro version as well. So this is more powerful.
Some extra beans.
Some extra beans. It's got this like adjustable head, so you can adjust like the spray. Like any, I mean, we don't need to tell you what a pressure washer does. This does what a pressure washer does, but I can't tell you how good it is and how easy it's made my life. And I've been using it for so long. This is literally the easiest advert to do.
So good.
Before I had a hose fitting on my house.
Yep.
I used to live in a flat.
Yep.
I used to wheel the bikes into the flat. It was so annoying having muddy bikes. It just meant I had a muddy house. I got this. It literally changed my life. I'm not even joking. I could wash my bikes and I didn't have to live in a pigsty. And then I could get a girlfriend.
Dude.
And look at us now.
This jet wash has changed your entire life.
Yeah, it's meant that I can actually have a partner in life. I'm not just on my own with a muddy house.
I mean, what an endorsement.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is
and
mind-blowing.
What's even better than that? So people can get a partner, change their life,
Yeah.
and save 15%. At
How
WORX.
much?
15%, dude.
I
Say it
mean,
again.
the fact, 15%, you're serious. I mean, the
right.
fact that they offer this product to general public as something you can just buy is ridiculous enough. And now we're offering it for 15% less.
Mate, you'll never see a single mountain biker again.
I mean, I kind of want to keep it secret a little bit. That's why it's the only downer about doing these ads. I wanted to keep it a bit secret. I don't want everyone to have the secret to my success in life. All right, maybe we're going overboard. We actually, do you know what? It's a product we don't really need to. The Hydra Shot is absolutely unbelievable. And you say we get 15% off. How do we get 15% off?
Head to WORX.com, enter the promo code The Ride Companion. It's on screen right now. The promo code is flashing black and orange. The Ride Companion at WORX.com. Change your life.
The
Clean
Ride
your bike.
Companion at WORX.com.
Yeah, easy as that.
Seems easy.
It's easy.
Change your life too. Thanks, WORX.
Cheers, WORX. We're back in.
Nice.
We're back.
What an ad break.
Very
Once
nice
again.
one. Okay, question number 1 from Boyle91. Who do you look up to as a female rider?
Oh, there's a few people here, but Rachel Athen is probably the reason I race a bike, which is pretty cool. I used to go to the Fort William World Cup every year and watch, and as a tiny kid I used to watch her racing downhill and I was just like, that's so cool. Used to watch every episode of the Atherton Project. Me and my brother wanted to be like the Athertons. We were like obsessed. So like, she's always been a big inspiration. I think Isabeau, who also races Enduro, is having a little break at the moment to become a mum, to grow a family, which is really cool. So like, for me, she's a really inspirational person, and like, it's quite relatable, you know, because she was so dominant in Enduro for so long. She's someone I know quite well and I've raced against, and she's taken that time to go and start a family. So that, yeah, those are my two at the moment.
Nice.
I can completely see the core memory of Rach in Fort William. Like, that place is such an amphitheatre. There's so many people, and seeing a win there was quite something, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was incredible. That definitely sticks out in my mind as like a moment that I just made me want to ride my bike, I guess. Yeah.
Wicked.
Love it. Smithy128, if you could be world champ in any other sport, what would it be?
Oh my goodness.
God, that's a good one.
So we want to go something away from mountain biking, totally. Oh.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
Or you could not.
Or you could not.
Could be in trials if you wanted.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Quick.
She's on the spot.
Panic. Ah.
She just likes bikes, okay?
Yeah, I just want to ride my bike.
Enduro, alright?
It would be really cool to be good at like skiing or snowboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like some freestyle.
Oh, okay.
Something
so not
cool like
racing,
that.
not against the clock.
Yeah.
Judge,
yeah,
not
no, I
like a
think
judged event.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
that feels like a long, long, long way away. I say snowboard, I like cruise down the hill, you know? So like, yeah.
What would you be, Davey? World champ.
I mean, surfing always just sticks out. Not that I'm even that interested in it now, but just the lifestyle I think would be really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to
think
go to the beach today.
The thing is, if you're world champ, you've got to do like wave pool and like nutrition, haven't you?
True.
Surfing would have been my answer, but then I was just thinking about it then. It might be quite a quick way to take the fun out of it.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're doing burpees on the beach, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what sport don't you have to train like that for? Golf.
Golf.
Golf world champ.
Baseball.
Ain't bad, is it?
Dart.
Oh yeah, I don't even like golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you
Golf's
could just ride the whole time and be a pro golfer. Whack a couple of balls.
You know what sports are quite funny? It's the ones where it's like, it starts raining and they don't bother doing it. Like, it always makes me like cricket, right? Cricket's crap. Cricket is crap. But the fact that it makes it even crapper that when it rains, they're like, you have to go inside.
Whoa.
You don't play cricket in the rain, do they?
No.
It's like, now I'm going inside.
I like the idea of just even cricket. Is there a world champ? Do they get like rainbow stripes? Is that just a UCI thing? I've never even thought about this.
Yeah, do all sports have world champs? Like, does surfing
rainbow.
have one world champs
don't know.
competition? I don't know.
It has like a series, but I don't know if it yeah, it does
Like
have
the
a
world
series.
champ stripes. Is the stripes UCI?
Yes.
I think it's right.
Okay, I didn't.
Yes.
Even been doing biking too long. Embarrassing.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Charlie Wilson, 15. Would you ever like to have a go at Downhill World Cup?
Oh, that was my question.
Okay, this is an interesting one. It's
This
one
must
I've
come up
thought
quite a
about
bit.
recently. So
Yeah,
I'm intrigued, I guess. Like, I'd love to know how I do. You know, like I would love to know how I do. But then I imagine myself on the start line of like a downhill race, and would I want to be in that situation? I'm not sure. So yeah, it's a funny one, and I'm not sure like that style of racing appeals to me as much as enduro. You know, like there's so much I love about enduro, like the big days out, like it feels like going out and riding your bike, you know, and that is why I ride. So then I think about downhill and their race weekends, and it doesn't appeal to me as much as enduro does. So that's why I've not done it so far. Basically, it's like, yeah, I'm intrigued to see how what my result would be, and that's kind of where it ends, I think.
Oh, it's a great answer.
It is a great. Have you ridden a downhill bike?
I've never ridden a proper downhill bike in my
Never ridden a
life.
downhill bike.
No, we built up some of our enduro bikes last year, our Jekylls, with dual crown forks.
Yeah.
That's the closest I've got. So
Interesting.
yeah, so maybe that would change everything. And like, I think curiosity will get me at some point. I think it will, but I don't feel like a desperate need to, you know?
Yeah.
Is there? I'm sorry, really prying. Is there a race, a place, a track that you'd be like, that one would suit me more than another one?
I think this is maybe another reason I haven't yet, is I think the courses are, if anything, getting further away from the type of course I would like. I want something like tech, you know, where was it? Like Maribor used to look sick. I don't know, something a bit more natural, like maybe Fort William or Mont Saint Anne or something like. I don't know, but like some of these like insane fast straight tracks, to me that doesn't appeal at all. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Does it appeal more or less to know a track more or less?
Mm.
You know,
What do you
because
mean?
downhill, like, you know every single bit, and you've got all of
Yeah,
these
true.
lines that you have to hit.
Yeah.
What you were saying earlier about enduro is like, you can't know it all, so you quite
Yeah.
enjoy the...
Yeah. Okay. It would be cool. I think like the extra speed you would pick up knowing all the lines would be. I can imagine that's a pretty like sick feeling. And I've done like a few like local downhill races on my enduro bike, and I do like that feeling of knowing where you're going and hitting all the lines, and you do like a perfect run. And you're like, that felt insane. But then I think there's the extra speed that has to come with that, you know? So like that's probably where I'd struggle. And I've spoken to a few of the girls who have tried some downhill World Cups. Is like they're up to speed like third lap, you know, and like that's.
Yeah.
They could very easily like plateau at that speed, but the downhill races are just getting faster and faster and faster every lap. So like, yeah,
It's really
funny.
interesting, actually. I just thought about the crashes you have in either. So if you have a crash in enduro and it's due to not knowing where the track goes, or not having a quite clear picture,
Yeah.
or knowing exactly where it is, you kind of go over the top of a berm and you might skid into a tree. You can have awful crashes, but like they generally tend to be one way, don't they?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of like little mistake crashes, I guess. Yeah.
And then on a downhill track, when you're hitting something as hard as physically possible, the crashes actually tend to be crapper, really, don't they? They happen quicker. They're more like you didn't expect it. You're in a turn, you've just hit it too hard, or you've...
Yeah.
There is like a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
I might be
that's
making it up.
that risk doesn't appeal to me too much either, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
What is like on a percentage scale when you are dropping in to race a stage
Yeah.
and it's the World Cup? You know, what percentage are you riding at? Do you have like more in the tank? Silly question, maybe, but also
No,
maybe
it's an
not.
interesting one because I feel like some riders have a really good like gauge of like the percentage they're riding at, but it had never crossed my mind. So I guess like in that moment, I'm going as fast as I think I can in that moment. I'm not someone that holds back, you know, like some riders do talk about like pacing themselves, and I've never got the hang of that. I'd rather just go flat out and die. I'd rather go flat out and blow up than like get to the bottom and go, oh, I should have gone harder, you know? It's like, I would say it's probably the same as when I'm descending, like, yeah, no, it's a funny one. Like, I feel like I'm going as fast as I can. Like, I'm going 100%, but then I'm not crashing everywhere. So, like, am I going 100%? I don't know.
I think it's a good question, honestly, because it makes you think about if you had 5 more practice runs.
Yeah.
Like what would you...
What did it look like then?
Yeah, and what would it feel like? Would it feel more... Because from the outside, the difference isn't very much between downhill and enduro, especially not to like the untrained eye. I think you'd just be like, well, it's the same thing. Why doesn't she want to drop in on World Cup downhill than she does on this one?
Yeah. No, they're definitely going a lot faster because you know every line. Like, you have to ride very, very differently. Yeah.
Wicked.
Well, I'm sure I speak for a lot of people that we'd love to see it happen one day. It'd be very exciting to see you race downhill.
We'll see if the opportunity came up over the next couple of years. I feel like I'd take it. You know, it's like trying those different things would be cool.
Yeah. What else we got?
Let's whiz through a load quickly.
Okay.
Ollie Oldham, what inspires you to ride each day?
Oh, I feel like just that joy that everyone feels riding their bike. Like, it's funny, it's not changed. Like, that's what kind of gets me out riding my mountain bike.
Nice.
I do have like race goals as well. So like there are days that I don't feel like riding, and then I literally ask myself the question like, do you want to win or not? And like it's quite like a simple black and white. It's the same if I'm doing some intervals and I don't really feel like pushing hard as possible. You've got like the last 10 seconds of a sprint, and you're like, well, do you want to win or not? And like it's quite a simple yes. So then like that does get me out on the days that it's pouring with rain or it's snowing and I don't really feel like doing it. It's like, yeah.
I think, sorry, I was just going to interrupt with another question. Sorry, I didn't even know why I said I think. I was thinking about something.
You think?
I'm just acknowledging that I think sometimes. It's quite rare, but like,
Sometimes I think.
Sometimes I think. This is a question from me. We kind of touched on it at the start. What does it feel like at this moment to have won the overall World Cup?
It feels like, right now, it feels like a bit of a relief. I think, like, because I've had that leader's jersey for a while, you're like at the back of my mind, I was like, well, I could win the overall, you know, but when you win it, it's kind of like, oh, thank goodness I kept on hanging on to that. Like, yeah, and I guess I also feel different in a way to some of these riders have grown up with the goal of winning. And that wasn't kind of how I grew up, you know, riding my bike. I grew up riding because it was fun, because I enjoyed traveling, all of this kind of stuff. It's like I haven't had this this dream or goal of winning since I was a young girl, which I think helps me have a really healthy like relationship with the racing, because I'm like, sick, yeah, I won, but not like, oh my goodness, my life is made. Does that make sense? It's like, no, I'm really happy with that. Like
it's really healthy, I think.
Yeah.
I agree, actually. I agree. And then loads of things that you've said, I completely, I would feel like I'm more that way inclined. And also I feel like it just makes life more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't feel like my whole year revolved around like winning. You know, like it could very easily be like your life revolves around those like 8 World Cups a year, and like I work as hard as I can for those, but because they don't feel like everything, like I feel like my whole year can be fun too.
Quite often when we do these podcasts, you learn something new, and definitely from the outside, I thought it was going to be the opposite.
Okay.
You coming from XC, I thought it was going to be like, I am completing my goals.
Yeah.
I have completed the goal. We have the jersey. Target acquired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's quite nice hearing.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Totally.
I'm glad.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay. Probably a good one to end on.
Yeah.
Maybe, unless you were gonna say something. If you have one piece of advice for anyone, I mean, female rider in particular,
For sure.
getting into the sport, like what would you say?
I think it's really cool to like try a bit of every style of riding. You know, like it took me a while to find what I enjoyed and what I thrived at.
Yeah.
So yeah, just ride a bit of it all and do exactly what you enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
couldn't be a better way to end.
No.
Fantastic.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so
thank
much,
you for
Sam.
having
We
me.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Genuinely really stoked for you, especially after hearing the journey and where you've come from, and like it's fucking and insane. So congratulations. Very well deserved.
Let's finish with a round of
you.
applause
Shall we?
for the EDR World Cup overall champion 2020.
Aw.
Ella Conolly.
Where do people find you if they
Thank
don't already
you.
follow you? Where you at?
Mostly Instagram,
Yep.
just Ella_Conolly.
Ella_.
Easy. Peace and love.
done.
Thanks for joining us.
Like
Thank
and
you.
subscribe. Mate, what an episode.
Brilliant. I thought you were really great, Davey.
Mate, and I thought you were even better.
Thanks, dude.
Better
Thanks,
than
dude.
normal.
Oh, cheers.
Hey, how about we tell our lovely podcast community to hit subscribe here.
Yeah,
Click on the video on Ollie's face.
that's right.
Click on the video on my face.
Yeah.
And follow us at The Ride Companion on Instagram.
They can like and comment as well.
Please do.
I'm going to try and get this energy and I'm going to bring it into next week.
Let's fast forward to next week's episode.
Done.